I am the famous American, and I'm making this video because I want to make it so simple so that you can know how to, quote, lose weight. So I've been doing certain things that have definitely been sustainable for me, that I enjoy doing, and I don't want to make this complicated. And I'm going to go through this as quickly as I possibly can. This is based on my own personal experience. You know, I think a lot of people wonder, especially here in the United States, what's the secret to weight loss? Well, ultimately what I tell you is you have to define what weight loss is. And weight loss is not simply that you want to decrease how much you weigh. You're wanting to decrease the amount of fat on your body. You want to maintain muscle, but you want to get rid of fat. So it's not weight loss, it's cutting fat from your body while maintaining or building muscle. That's ultimately what we're talking about. So share with you real quickly how this works for me. First thing I'm looking at food. I forget about the food pyramid. There's just 3 food groups. And the most important, the baseline, the bottom of the real pyramid is protein. And by protein, it's very well defined by meat, fish, yogurt, whey protein. That's protein. I was a former vegan for many years. Most of my 30s I was a vegan. And so I thought, oh, well, protein is nuts and seeds and vegetables. Not quite. There's complete protein, and by getting enough of that per day, you keep from losing muscle mass, because you don't want to, like I said, you want to lose fat, you don't want to lose muscle. So for me, like currently I weigh, I think 158 pounds. So I make sure minimum to keep from losing any muscle mass, I'm doing about half that number in grams of those complete protein, again from fish or meat or eggs or whey protein, Greek yogurt. So for example, if I weigh 157, roughly half of that would be, so that, like I said, let's just round up to 160, so 80. I don't want to do less than 80 grams of complete protein a day to make sure that I don't lose muscle mass. But if I were trying to build muscle, then I would want to actually double that. So I'd want to I weigh 157, I want to be eating 157 grams of those complete protein in order to grow muscle. So do I want to maintain muscle, or do I want to grow it? And that's the formula that I use for that. But protein is number 1. And then number 2, secondary, is going to be fat and fiber. So healthy fats would include things like coconut and nuts. And for me, I will have some dairy that will have that. I stay away from milk because it's so high in sugar, and I look at that more as a sugary drink than I do actual fat. But there's also obviously a lot of fat in fish, and I'll have butter. I'll have things like that. And I understand that that helps my brain, and it helps keep me from being hungry. And then also the last one is fiber. I'm not going to use the word carbohydrates. A lot of people say carbs. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's accurate. Of course, I stay away from processed sugar. But for me, I need fiber more than anything. I need to make sure everything's going good with digestion. And so therefore, for me, I'm having at least a cup of frozen fruit a day. There's my fiber. A whole avocado a day. There's my fiber. Sweet potato a day. There's my fiber. I do flaxseed. I'm very much focused on fiber. Protein's number 1. But I also am very focused on making sure I get enough fat in my diet for my brain and enough fiber for my digestion. So that's the real food pyramid that I use. Then on top of that, specifically, I just like this, I do intermittent fasting. I don't typically consume any calories until at least noon, and even then it's just a little bit to get me through my workout. So usually I don't eat my first meal until 2 p.m. and then I'll stop eating by around 8 or 9. So it's like a 6 or 7 hour window that I'm eating. So the majority of my time each day, I'm not eating, and I'm not having to focus on digesting food ultimately. So the majority of my day is not focused on eating. The minority is. And then also, I'll say officially Monday through Friday, I go, no matter how cold or windy or rainy or hot it is, I go on an hour-long walk every day. So a lot of times I'll have a backpack with 25 pounds on it. Sometimes I push my daughter in a stroller, so there's some kind of resistance exercise. But I'm outside, I'm getting fresh air, I'm getting vitamin D from the sun. I'm seeing people that also are doing that along with me, near my house. I'm getting that at least Monday through Friday. And then usually on the weekends, I'm still running around and I'm still getting some kind of exercise. And then lastly, about 3 days a week, in addition to the walking, I do weight training. I go to the gym and I do compound exercises. So things like pull-ups and doing the bench press and doing squats, things that are working multiple muscle groups at a time. So that's what I do. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not a temporary thing. And ultimately, I have lost a bit of weight, specifically fat, probably since the last time you saw me do a video. And when it gets to the point where my pants are way too baggy and my clothes won't fit anymore, well, at that point, then I can do what? Increase the protein, so that by doing that, I can focus more on building muscle, because I'm already doing the work to build muscle. But without a surplus of that protein, I'm not really so much building muscle. So it's a matter of, are you trying to lose weight? It's a matter of consuming less calories than you need to be able to, for your body to store more fat. But if you are going to have more calories than you need, then instead of allowing your body to burn fat, you focus on protein while still burning that energy. So, and especially by weight training, so that your body knows what to do with that protein and put it on your body. And walking, doing the same thing. I consider that weight training, or at least resistance training, because it does that. So, to me, that's the simple formula to it. It's not so much about what do I not eat, because I've been down that road before. I'm focused on what can I eat, and I mostly eat the same thing every day. I'll have eggs every day. I have kimchi every day. I have a whey protein that I put in my yogurt. I mentioned the sweet potato. I mentioned a cup of frozen fruit. And then for dinner, I'll have some kind of protein there as well. And I make sure I have at least one serving of nuts. So I have a good balance, but again, it's based on protein more than anything, and then the right amount of fats and the right amount of fiber, to make sure that ultimately, when you have all three in the right amount, I'm not going around hungry. And it's not hard for me to not eat until at least 2 p.m. And sometimes I only have one meal and I don't eat until 5:30 or 6 p.m. because I'm getting enough of what I need from the food from the day before, and I'm starting my day out with exercise. And it's funny, instead of eating breakfast, I'm actually burning calories. And then when it is time for lunch, I'm usually at the gym during that time. So when I finally do eat, I make it count, making sure that I get enough nutrition. So I'm no expert, I'm just a regular guy, but that's what I have been doing, and I feel really good that I've got this formula worked out to where I'm having a great time. Your comments belong right here.